going on, guys? T2RX6 here, back for another third-party review, and today we're taking a look at the Magic Square Transporter, I believe his name is. Obviously it's Ultra Magnus. And have you ever had a friend that's kind of hyped up a movie so much that when you went and saw it, you were pretty disappointed? This is kind of that movie for me. Yeah, I mean, like, so this is one of the first, I guess, G1 legend scale characters that have come out, and he set a bar, and I can see where you would be impressed with him, but he's not one that, in my opinion, has aged super well. The robot mode is good, spoiler alert, but the truck mode, it just isn't. You got this type of thing going on from hiding Ultra Magnus's head in there. It's really the type of thing that I kind of wish there was ratchets or some kind of, you know, mechanism that this locks in place. Like, it's just too wobbly. It doesn't work when you sit it down half the time. These little red pieces here are, if you don't have these just quite right, which, if you don't realize, these things rotate around, and it's easy to miss that in the instructions. So if you don't have them this way, these red pieces will actually bottom out before these wheels. It's very hard to see how little of a gap there is, but I mean, it's like a millimeter or less. The way the top arms here work is no good. The back here, which should be the doors for the truck, they don't open. They're solid, stuck in place. Even if I were to take the smallest figure I have, he's not fit in there, so he can't carry any cars. So it's probably already evident why I think it's a bit silly, but we'll bring out some more examples here. Here's Magic Square's Architect, which the scale feels off, but it doesn't feel terrible. But then you bring out your Optimus Prime, and he just smashes it, and it just looks like a tiny little, like a small car masquerading as a semi-truck. It's so small, it's not even funny. It's like a micro machine compared to a Hot Wheel, is what it kind of feels like. And it's just kind of worse when you have the trailer on here with Optimus Prime. I guess, like, you know, if we put Optimus all the way back here and we put this all the way in this corner of the video, you know, it's not so bad looking, but when they're right next to each other, it's just kind of a bummer. Couple more quick size comparisons. You already saw Bumblebee when we were trying to put him in the trailer. There's Bumblebee and Jazz from New Age, and the obligatory Grand National and GoBot. So let's get Ultra Magnus to his robot mode. We're going to start by doing these wheels, because if you don't, you'll probably end up forgetting them. At least I will. So as you can see, when you flip them around, it makes this more flush. So that's important. From here, we can go ahead and unpeg these, and you can see his gun did store in the vehicle mode here, just like so. Bring this camera back a little. I'm going to take these off, mostly because we have to. We're going to rotate these on around and unpeg these little side panels, and we can go ahead and compress them for now and unpeg them from the legs. From here, I guess let's keep working on the legs. We'll split the legs. These little side panels are going to come around to the other side. Rotate this up, and then that little tab there is going to meet the door here, just like so. And then this little panel is going to come in and tab into place there to fill that out. And I will say, it's a very clean leg, it's a very secure leg, but I don't like that the doors don't open. So let's do that again on this side. Bring this around, fold this up, peg it in place, bring this down, peg it in place. And we got the legs done. We'll go ahead and flip this skirt armor in just to clean it up. From here, we'll go to the top. We'll rotate these arms out. Let's bring the chest down and in place. So quick jump cut, because I said that incorrectly. What you want to do is kind of pull this out like that, and you can fold the smokestacks in. That's going to give you just enough clearance to get the head around. Then you can go ahead and compress this down. From here, all this stuff can kind of peg into the, or it folds into the back. I said peg, but there is no pegging that goes on. And then just kind of push the truck connection of Ultra Magnus down, so it sits pretty well flush there. From here, we're going to bring this around to the other side. This peg is going to go into the back of the truck here. Well, the side window of the truck, I should say. Not really the back. There we go. It was caught. Bring this all the way up, and we can flip it around. Bring this all the way up, flip it all the way around. Bring these pieces up and push them down on both sides. And from here, slide the fist, I guess the forearm cover, so the fist comes out, and if this kind of got in the way, go ahead and fix that up. Fix the head, give him the shoulder missiles on each side, and we're done. And there's Ultra Magnus in his robot mode. Oh, and the gun here, just flip out this little peg and peg it into his hand. So in robot mode is where I think Ultra Magnus here really shines. He's got some great articulation. It moves around just fine. Everything kind of works. This is a little loose, but I guess you get the ab crunch as a result of it. The arms aren't really hindered by the big stacks on his arm. It's really well done in its robot mode. So for a quick size comparison, here he is with Optimus Prime from Magic Square, and I think that scale looks good. Here he is with the New Age car, and here he is with the New Age Bumblebee. I think the scale looks fine, and I'm not saying that I don't like the robot. I'm just saying that I feel like you could have made a better truck that turned into a very similar robot. And if you remember from the Optimus Prime review, there was the extra set of hand for both Ultra Magnus and Optimus to shake hands. So let's get Ultra Magnus back to his vehicle mode and let's get out of here. I've already taken the accessories off, and I'm going to come right down to the feet and flip these around, because if I don't, I will most definitely forget them. We're going to come up here, pull the top of the stacks, and it doesn't really matter which way you tilt them. I'm going to show you. We can put them both facing that way, because once you bring this around, it's just going to bring it in like that anyway. So it doesn't really matter. Just the important thing is that it's there and it's out of the way. Like so. And I like to, and maybe this messes me up, but I do compress this back in afterwards, just so it kind of straightens everything out. To the arm here, we're going to go and slide the blue piece down like that. We're going to disconnect these pieces here, and you can pull all this up like that. Next, we're going to slide the back of the truck up there, open this up, and we want to find the right spacing here, that when we have this kind of put up like this, we have just enough clearance to get those head antennas through. We can bring that down to this side, and then from either the inside or using the smokestacks, kind of straighten that out. Bring the head back in and work this armature so it hits right there, like so. Bring the wheels out, and they're probably going to work their way back in, but we'll at least try for now. You can take these, rotate these straight down, and we'll come back to them later. We're going to come to the legs now. From here, you want to get inside here, and I always have trouble forgetting. I always have trouble forgetting. That's a new one. I always have trouble remembering how to do this. Kind of get in there from the bottom and bring them out. From here, you can unpeg the leg and bring it upwards. Bring this panel all the way around, and this should be sitting straight across. So we'll do that again. Bring this down like that so it sits straight. Bring it around, and then we can go ahead and clip this together. When you clip it together, you're definitely going to mess with these wheels if you didn't know they moved. From here, this is something I always forget too. Kind of separate this and bring these up, and that'll become apparent when you're trying to transform it. You can now take these tabs, close them up like this to kind of lock them in place. From here, we'll go back to the top. We're going to bring this up, and this is going to come around, and it's going to peg right into the back here, like so. This is a good time if you want to store the gun to do it now while you have one side on. You can peg it in place there, And then you can bring the other side up and around, and then peg it into the gun on the other side, and bring this down and in place, and peg it into position. There we go. From here, just kind of straighten all this stuff out, make sure it's where it needs to be. You'll see that these flaps need to be up, because what's going to happen is when we bring this panel around, that is going to sit right into where that flap is. So go ahead and bring that and fold it up and see how tiny that clearance is there. So go ahead and do that to the other side. Fold it around, peg it right into here. I forgot to put the gun peg up like that. You can do that, fortunately. And go ahead and peg on your missile pods on either side. And we have Ultra Magnus back in his truck mode. So yeah, I mean, it's a fine toy. I have to kind of give it leeway because it's the first, you know, G1 style. I know Iron Factory did their take on Ultra Magnus, and he was kind of a squished car carrier and things like this, but this is really appealing to that G1 sensibility. I just don't think it works when you compare it next to their Optimus Prime. So I feel like this is something that Magic Square needs to revisit. And I don't know if I necessarily want to see the white robot. I don't mind seeing that. If you can go ahead and engineer these pieces that they kind of clip on. I mean, it looks like you could do that. You could engineer the trailer so it fits over Optimus Prime's leg, gives him a little bit more extension on it, and works that way. Just kind of, you know, like your conventional City Protector armor from Fans Project. It would work, and I think that that's the route they really should do. And you don't even need to do the transforming truck into the white robot if you don't want to. Like, it's personally, I like to see it, but in my opinion, you know, why don't you do something a little different where you take the truck that comes to the same size as the Optimus, and maybe it kind of blows out to like a skeleton of a robot that fits all the pieces of the car carrier onto it in some way. It'd be parts forming. Some people are going to complain, but you can't please everybody. But at least you could make a trailer that's going to be this size overall. I mean, you're almost there with the legs. I think that that would be the height extension you need if you plugged it into a body. The arm stuff, like, I think that that is definitely a route that would work. So yeah, it's a good toy. It's just not the Ultra Magnus I had hoped for. And I know Mech Fans Toys is doing a knockoff of this, and I don't really condone knockoffs, but at the same time, if that truck is the same size as Magic Square Optimus and these back pieces open, because I heard there is supposed to be some upgrades, it might be a little bit tempting. So, we'll see. Anyway, this is T2RX6. I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and I'll see you next time.